The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization. Hello, Namaskar, welcome friends once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, my name is Hamid Ansari. Sorry, my name is Rajdeep Sardesai, but let me rephrase that. What if my name was Hamid Ansari and I had served with distinction in the Indian Foreign Service for more than 3 decades, served under more than half a dozen prime ministers, been ambassador to half a dozen countries, including permanent representative to the United Nations in New York. I had been vice chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University, been chairperson of the National Minorities Commission, and been only one of 2 vice presidents to have served 2 terms, and of course chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. Pretty impressive CV, no? Well, I, Hamid Ansari, am now 85 years old. I live a quiet life with my wife in a house given to me by the government of India. I'm a man of letters with a vast library that you're welcome to come and see. But suddenly, at the ripe old age of 85, I am being told that after this distinguished career in public life, forget all that, I am an anti-national. That's right. I, Hamid Ansari, am accused of inviting, meeting and sharing a stage with a so-called Pakistani journalist Nusrat Mirza in 2010, who now 12 years later claims in 2022 that he was passing on information from his India trips to the Pakistani ISI. That I, Hamid Ansari, based on this entirely uncorroborated claim made by a Pakistani journalist, am being accused of being an ISI agent, or so is the inference clearly being drawn by the BJP spokesperson Gaurav Bhatia, and that I must come clean on my Pakistani links. I am being told that since I shared this stage at a formal conference on terrorism with Mr. Mirza, so I must necessarily have to explain my presence with a Pakistani journalist, and that no amount of outright denials on this issue will do because my name is Hamid Ansari. Well, I, Hamid Ansari, am today on the straight bat wishing to ask a few questions of the powers that be in the country. Question 1. If I, Hamid Ansari, am an ISI agent because I shared a platform with a Pakistani journalist who claims to have passed on the information to the ISI, then should questions be asked of me, or of the Ministry of External Affairs and indeed the Indian High Commission in Islamabad that vets all visas of individuals coming to India? If I, Hamid Ansari, am going to be accused of being an ISI agent because I was seen on stage with a Pakistani journalist, then are we all saying that sharing a stage becomes evidence of my guilt? Are we then saying that when the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, addresses a gathering at the Prime Minister's residence where the invitees include a certain Mehul Choksi, who is greeted as Mehul Bhai by the Prime Minister, does that make the Prime Minister guilty in any way by association of the crimes committed by the fugitive jeweler? Question number 3. If I, Hamid Ansari, being seen in a photo on a podium with Nusrat Mirza is now proof of my guilt by association, does that mean that when the Prime Minister is seen in a group photo with Nirav Modi in Davos, or an Amit Shah has a photo with an IAS officer who much later is found to be involved in massive corruption, will the same rules now apply on them as well? Question number 4. If I, Hamid Ansari, am present at a private dinner hosted by the Congress leader and former diplomat Manishankar Iyer, where a former Pakistani Foreign Minister Khurshid Kasuri is present as his former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, does that mean we are all involved in some act of sedition as was suggested and we were accused of during the 2017 Gujarat campaign by the Prime Minister? Is attending a dinner with Pakistani sedition? Because if it is, then how should I view the unscheduled visit of Prime Minister Modi to Pakistan to drop in to meet Nawaz Sharif, or the red carpet welcome that was given to Mr. Sharif when the Prime Minister was sworn in 2014? Question number 5. If I, Hamid Ansari, am being accused today by a BJP spokesperson of being a Pakistani agent because the spokesperson believes the claims of a Pakistani journalist, then is the same spokesperson claiming today that a Pakistani journalist's word carries more weight than that of an Indian vice president? Because in every TV show you will recall the BJP insists that you can never trust Pakistan, much less a Pakistani journalist. That when the BJP loses an election, crackers will be burst in Pakistan. So how come suddenly has Mr. Bhatia decided to find the Pakistani journalist and a Pakistan society so trustworthy? Is Mr. Bhatia aware that this so-called journalist is notorious in Pakistan for peddling fake conspiracy theories? Did he or anyone do any background checks on Mr. Mirza at all before making such serious charges? Question number 6. If I, Hamid Ansari, am accused of patronizing ISI agents based on what a Pakistani journalist now claims on a YouTube interview, then how will we view the fact, not a claim my friends, but a fact, that when the J&K police recently arrested 2 Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists involved in twin blasts, one of them, Talib Hussain Shah, turned out to be a former BJP IT and social media in charge of the BJP's minority morcha in Jammu. There is a letter to prove that Mr. Shah was briefly associated with the BJP IT cell. In my case, you choose to go by hearsay of a Pakistani without a single documentary evidence. Question number 7. If I, Hamid Ansari, am being indirectly accused or directly accused of having ISI links only because a so-called journalist claims to suggest this link, how will we view other claims made by Pakistani journalists that Dawood Ibrahim doesn't live in Pakistan, that Pulwama was an Indian raw plot, that the operation in Balakot had zero impact on the ground, that no terrorists were killed, that there was no damage done to Pakistan's terror machine? Because, my friends, if you start believing everything you hear in the Pakistani media, then you must also believe all this too, no? Question number 8. If I, Hamid Ansari, am going to be presumed guilty till proven innocent based on hearsay, will this same rule apply to our netas too? After all, the charge that is repeatedly made by the opposition is that vast amounts of money are being accumulated through favored industrialists by the ruling party, which is then being used to topple elected governments. Should we then presume that you are guilty of all these offences until you prove yourself innocent and no amount of denials will rid you of this charge? Question number 9. If I, Hamid Ansari, am being accused of compromising national interest when I was ambassador to Iran by a former RAW operative, would you care to inform me why would I have been elevated subsequently to the United Nations as a permanent representative by the Narasimha Rao government and then served in other governments too, including that of Mr. Vajpayee? Recall that I served in Iran from 1990 to 92. Will unsubstantiated allegations made 27 years later in 2019 be used to discredit me now? Is this not plain and simple character assassination? My 10th and final question, and I have kept the central question for the last. If I, Hamid Ansari, am going to be called anti-national by innuendo and dog whistles, is it quite simply because my name is Hamid Ansari and I am an Indian Muslim? What if my name was Harish Anand and I shared a stage with the same Mr. Mirza? Would you then again insinuate that I am an ISI agent? Am I, as a proud Indian and an Indian Muslim, a suspect in your eyes only because of my religious identity? Am I to prove my patriotism to you irrespective of the constitutional office I held and the long years in public service only because you wish it to be so? May I ask ever so gently, who is a true patriot, my friends? Me, who served this country across the world and in India in various capacities, or those who judge fellow Indians by the clothes they wear and the neighborhood in which they lived? Am I a patriot for standing by the constitution, my friends? Or are those the patriots who switch parties, buy MLAs, keep them in resorts, the true patriots? You know what? You don't have to answer any of these questions, because actually my name is not Hamid Ansari. It is Rajdeep Sardesai, and I, my friends, am a journalist who likes to ask questions of all. Think about it. That was the straight bat. Do of course subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind. Namaskar.